Everyone, my name is Jacqui Cahill. I'm a lecturer from the School of Nursing and Midwifery. I have to say that I am new to Australia. I've only been here 9 months, so I'm also new to the higher education in Australia as well. My background is I'm a nurse. I also have qualifications in educational technology, and I find over time that I'm moving to more of a technology approach to my teaching, learning and assessment for our students. So today we're going to have a very brief overlook at some of the things that are going on in the undergraduate nursing program and what I like using a lot, which are reusable learning objects, and also YouTube. I think I read somewhere that every day more videos and information is uploaded to YouTube than in the 60 years of broadcasting in every country. It's gone ballistic. I think the first ever video seen on YouTube was one of the owners or one of the developers who went to San Diego Zoo and stood next to an elephant and videoed himself, and that was the first one that was uploaded. I'm sure you're all aware of this, the many videos that we all watch, and how if you didn't like cats, there's not a lot there for you, really. So, but onwards. And let's just start straight over here. So it's just to give you an overview of what's happening in education, to give you from a pedagogical approach, and also what learning outcomes we have as well. So, as I said, I teach nursing, and I teach on the undergraduate program, and I teach in two areas, which is biosciences, which is anatomy and physiology. I also do a unit called Drugs Online. And Drugs Online is an external unit, so it's open to students across the university. And it has four main aspects to it, which is a pharmaceutical approach. We look at things like how drugs work, if you ingest them, the processes and things like that. And we look at certain types of drugs. We look at illegal drug taking and legal drug taking. We look at drugs in sports. And we also look at the alternative to drug taking as well. For example, people who like to take various lotions and potions and what contribution they make to health. So I've been very lucky this year, particularly with that particular unit, is because we've had the Olympics, so there's much about anti-doping within the Olympics. And thank you, Lance Armstrong. You have been a godsend for my teaching, thank you. So, but it allows, by using this, the Drugs Online is completely online, it's completed online, there is no face-to-face. The assessments are done online, and there is an exam at the end. But everything I do, I contribute, and all the stuff that's there is there for the student. So, onwards and upwards. We have, like the previous speaker, large numbers of students. When I was in the UK, we used to actually have two cohorts per year of 800 students plus. So, yeah, you get a bit tired by the midterm. We're on multi-campuses. One of the things that I've discovered from being both here in Australia and in the UK is that what we don't seem to manage is students' expectations. When students come to university, their expectations are they'll sit in a room like this and I will fill their heads with knowledge. And I think we need to really address that, because that's obviously what's not happening. They do like storytelling, it does have its place, but that's not always appropriate. They also come maybe with expectations of how much time they need to be spending on working. And I have students come to me going, oh, I read 5 chapters last night. That's nice. You know, what does that say? That says you've read 5 chapters. What have you taken away from that? It's something completely different. And also, when I was in a classroom, I was using the whiteboard, and I had a pen, and it didn't work very well. So I was doing this with the pen, trying to see if there was any ink in the pen. And 3 students came up with their iPads and took photos. And I go, what are you taking a photo of? And again, you've written on the whiteboard. So we do have very interesting, students have very odd expectations about what actually they have to do to participate within the unit. I, as I said, run the Drugs Online, and I had students ringing me going, is it hard? And I go, is what hard? What are you trying to ask me here? Well, is it hard to do? Will it take up a lot of my time? And I go, yes and yes. It's not hard, but it will take up your time. So it can be content heavy. Therefore, we require a flexible approach. Students can sit down with anatomy and physiology and feel completely overwhelmed by it. They're introduced to a new language that they may never have used before. So it's about the engagement as well. It's about drawing them in and saying, this is manageable, this is doable, and making it flexible. So with a student-centered learning approach, it's not about me, I know this, it's about how can I get that knowledge over. And it promotes deeper learning as surface learning as opposed to. So I'm just going to quickly show this. Right. This is, I'm going to put my glasses on for this. This is a reusable learning object. When I was in the UK, I worked at Nottingham University for a time, and these were developed here, and they were developed along with Cambridge and a few other universities. And a reusable learning object is basically a learning object with a beginning, a middle, and an end. How big, how small, that's completely up to you. But the whole idea of it is that it can be used again, not just by the student, but by the teachers maybe going, this is undergraduate, we could use this in nursing, we could use this in midwifery, we could use this maybe for continuing professional development. So the whole idea of it is that it can be put into different learning environments as well. They tend to be interactive, so for example, if you click on the tabs, it will take you through this commentary.
Abdominal examination. This is comprised of 3 elements: inspection, palpation, and auscultation of the fetal heart.
Right, so if we go to inspection. And then it takes ages to load.
Inspection. By looking at the abdomen, the midwife can assess approximately the size of the uterus. Can you think of factors occurring in the woman fetus which may affect this estimation?
So you could write lots of babies, because that would make her abdomen big. Oops, you didn't like that. I'll just put lots of babies. I'd submit that, and then what would happen is that then you would get a little pop-up saying these are the reasons why. When you look at an abdomen, this could be the reasons why it's as big as it is, because you could have a full abdomen, distended colon, parity, which is the size, life of the fetus, and multiple pregnancies. So it's an interaction. It allows students to go in and have a go. There's nobody to say, oh, you got that wrong, which sometimes students can be reluctant to do. The other thing that's really good about RLOs is that you can come back to them again and again and again. Some of them have quizzes built into them. Some of them all of them will have resources. They are free for no money, which is my favourite kind of resource. And the fact is that you only have to reference them, and they're updated frequently. So I'm flying through this because I suddenly realised that I'm running out of time. So that's a reusable learning object in midwifery. No, the university updates, and they have a team that work on them. And if you go to the resource page, for example, in this particular one, you'll see the resource, the title, the description, where it's come from. There's an organisation in the UK called NICE. Have you all heard of NICE? Which is the clinical guidelines. So that's what underpins that. So if you look also here, it's got date release and updated 2008. So you can make the decision whether or not that you want to use that. Is that up to date? How old is it? Kind of thing. So that's that. And I've only got a minute left, so I'm just going to quickly take you through the rest of these. YouTube is everybody's favourite waste of time, as I said. We've all been in there looking at various things. This is Khan's Academy. And Khan's Academy is, he's been on TED, Khan, the guy who's developed this, and he basically just wants to produce these resources so everybody could be educated. And they do everything from anatomy and physiology to physics to engineering. What I tend to look at is that no more than 10 minutes, okay? They have to achieve the learning outcomes for the session that you're doing, and they have to have an interactive element to it. Okay. The other thing that our students are not very good at is anatomy and physiology, and sometimes when you present the information to them, they feel it goes over their heads a little. So there's a guy called Bozeman who looks at anatomy and physiology from sort of like a sixth form K-12 kind of level. So if students are saying to me, I'm really struggling, I send them to this chap here.
From youtube.com/Russia today. So we got this person here walking down the street. All of a sudden they realize there's a car coming, and then they get out of the way. Now if I were to keep playing it, the guy jumps out of the car.
Right, because what he's talking about there's flight or fright of biological responses. So again, you can offer things to students where they're going, I find that a bit difficult, can I take it down a step or two? And then the other thing, which I'm going to very quickly end on, if this is okay, is I do drugs online. One of the things that Jilly Salmon says is activities, get them, hook them in, get the students in so they want to engage. So this is for you. Can I play this, Jean, have I got time? It's about a minute long.
The spider built a web.
Okay,
Found a
just, hang on. This is, and it's got spiders in it, so I should do a warning. Right, but this is, I put this on just before I do drugs online.
The wood spider is the most accomplished of all web-building species. Recently, scientists gave these tiny creatures a variety of psychoactive drugs to observe their effects on web building. When given a minute dose of LSD, the spider's web took on an unfamiliar, minimalist structure. When given caffeine, the web structure was not affected, but the spider's behavior was. Given THC, the active ingredient in marijuana, the spider didn't build a web. It built a hammock, where it lay all day and watched the caffeine spider go. When given alcohol, the spider built a web, found a mate, and raised over 100 young. But the mate got a restraining order, and now the spider can't go within 100 centimeters of the web. The crack cocaine spider figured building webs was for suckers, waited till the caffeine spider was exhausted, then came up behind it and popped a cap in its ass. Nice web, Mr. Crack Spider. When winter came, the marijuana spider had no place to live. It ended up in the crack web as the crack spider's bitch. For more information on the crack spider's bitch, contact the Canadian Wildlife Service in Ottawa.
There you go. Thank you. So, sorry I went over.